welcome to Writing Easy, the podcast that takes the act of writing, which can be really hard, and tries to make it just a little bit easier. I'm one of your hosts, Mary Mascari.
And I'm your other host, Melissa Long.
Melissa, this week I got a gift in my inbox.
Yeah, those are always special.
It was really cool, because I get a lot of these things, emails that come in from various things I sign up for. When I first go to the site, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll absolutely subscribe. This is great. And then the emails start coming in and I delete, or I skim it, whatever. But one of the subscriptions that I have is for a site called LiteraryHub. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's just a great site for writers and people who like writing and literature and all that great stuff. And I went to their site, loved it, and subscribed to their weekly email. And in that email, I think it was this week, I got a little essay. It was written by Emily Gould, and it's called On How and Why to Keep Writing When Writing Feels Pointless. What's interesting about this is I can't find this anywhere on the internet. I've done searches. I looked on LiteraryHub. I was like, I want to share this. This is a really helpful article. And it doesn't seem to be anywhere but in my email. So, perhaps that's because they don't intend me to share it with anybody, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's really great.
I'm excited.
Yeah. And I sent it to you. I did the old-fashioned way of emailing things to people. I know, right? I'm obviously not going to read the whole thing to you, but we're going to go over some of the highlights and what it means to us. So the premise of this is that Emily Gould is a writer, and she had gotten a contract. She sold her novel and, had gotten a contract and was ready to start going. And that happened in October of 2016. So, Cubs just won the World Series. Everything looked great. And then, holy crap, the world kind of went a little nuts and has continued to be that way ever since. People accuse the Cubs of doing it. Since the Cubs won the World Series, it upset the time-space continuum.
That's it. That's what it was. I've been trying to put my finger on it.
Mirror universe. Yeah, that's what happened. So, so with that, now she's got this book that she's written in the before times, and she's really having a hard time motivating herself to write this book, to revise it, to work on it, to get it ready for now, when, again, everything's on fire. And so what she did is she shared some of the things that she did to kind of help keep herself motivated. And I thought this is certainly relevant anytime, whether or not the world is on fire, but particularly now when the world is even more on fire than it has ever been. So she gave 3 things that she did to keep herself motivated. And the first one was move the goalposts or remove them entirely. So she starts off talking about writers who, just crank out 1,000 words a day no matter what. And, just these people who can just really keep their butt in their chair no matter what. And she's like, wow, that's really great. But if you're not that kind of person, that kind of writer, you need to maybe redefine what your objectives are. What is working on your writing? And for her, she said, her goal at that point was just to read, and to read a novel carefully. We've talked about that in the past. Mm-hmm. And in doing that helped keep her motivated to keep going, rather than if she had tried to stay to that higher level, she might have given up entirely.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to do that? Kind of redefine your goals for a day or a week or a month or something?
I always, I'm always redefining my goals. I love setting goals. I don't like the discipline of doing them every day to get there. And we've talked about the word counts and how, just sort of paralyzing or limiting they can be. So I'm always redefining my goal in terms of action, and that's open-ended. Mm-hmm. I just have to sit at the computer and look at my script or open my keyboard sometimes, or my laptop. Sometimes that is a goal in and of itself, or reading a book. I have to give myself permission to read because I often feel like it's just it's time that I should be doing something else that is going to have output. Right. And so I have to redefine that for myself.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I do the same thing. I like to set a goal, make a plan, and then I inevitably literally forget about it. It's the ADHD part of me. that which I do have. I'm not, saying it's like, oh, I have ADD, but no, I really do. And it affects me quite a bit. And one of the things that happens is, I'll make a big plan and I'll plan out the whole summer and here's the writing. And then by December, I'll have it all done, maybe early. It'll be great. And then, 2 weeks in, I not only have I not followed the plan, I've forgotten that it exists and I'm just kind of winging it. So yeah, I think it's important to kind of keep moving forward, but you want to have a beacon, something to go for generally, and it's work on the book. But yeah, you can't beat yourself up. You can't be a drill sergeant, man. We're not, marching, we're creating, and that takes what it takes.
And I think in these days, like, you want that flexibility. It can be like, we don't know where we're going to be in 3 months or 6 months or 9 months. It's really hard these days to plan anything beyond tomorrow or next week. So your goals should kind of reflect that. And you have to have that spirit of like, I don't need to define output or hit 50,000 words by this point. Like, I can just know that I'm trying to write a book or know that I'm trying to do X and feel comfortable reevaluating and setting that daily or weekly so that you can be responsive to what's on your plate.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to take it easy on yourself and just kind of stay, like you said, stay with your objective. So the second one, this is the one that absolutely blew my mind, that I loved very, very, very much, and something I still struggle with, and it's eliminate the possibility of an audience. Here's this quote that I love. She says, when I'm just getting back into writing after a period of not writing, I tend to want a lot of immediate attention for my effort. So she's looking for things that'll get attention right away, so she's trying to please an audience. And the thing is, that doesn't work for a long-term project like a novel. And so she says, to get my brain back in the place it needs to be in order to do the grunt work, I have to trick myself into doing some writing that's share-proof, which I think is a really great idea. Because I know I tend to write with the audience over my shoulder, and it's terrible because the audience is really cranky. And so I have to get that audience away and start up, even when I'm starting, I have to do it throughout the writing process, but it's good to acknowledge that that's a hard thing. What she says she does is she keeps a dream journal. And actually, I do that too. I just write down my dreams for the night before, and it's just to open a document and start typing and start going. That's the reason I do it. And yeah, and she says, there's no audience. No one's ever going to read this. It doesn't have to make any sense. It's just to kind of go. And she says it's kind of putting on gym clothes. Sometimes, like 1 in 5 times, it leads to exercising.
Yeah. When I saw this, I was thinking of like passion projects, right? The like thing that you take on that you're not worried about if it sells or how it can be made or like all of that stuff. There's sometimes just ideas that like have been nagging you in the back of your mind, and you keep telling them like, no, I have a deadline. No, I have to work on this. No, I have these other things that I've already planned out. And for me, it's like, I want to just give myself permission to work on something that's purely for fun. Like, no intention at all of ever letting anybody see the light of day. And like, maybe that'll change later, but it does free you up in terms of how you write, because you're just doing what you enjoy. You're not worried about the structure, the formats, the like, is this appealing? Is it too controversial? You're just doing it and like letting go of all of those different critics. So I do think it's really powerful. Yeah.
It's something I struggle with a lot, because like even I'll start to write fanfic, and the next thing you know, I'm like, oh, let's try to make this. It's something I always struggle with, and I know a lot of writers do, so I feel better about that. Yeah, it's a tricky thing. That audience, and just recognizing that that's what's the problem, I think helps.
Yeah.
And then this last part, this is the part that actually got me kind of like choked up, and she calls it the why part. Like, why do this? Why even bother? Why write a book, now? Like, why? And she talks about a book called I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith, one of her favorite books. Dodie Smith wrote it during World War II. And it's this book about this beautiful London, almost fantasy world, this happy place. and a coming of age story. But as Dodie Smith is writing this, London's being bombed to shit. So how did she do that, right? Like how can you write about a happy London while people are dying in London? And she says it's just kind of a preservation, right? Like I just want to save this. And Emily Gould put this great line in here, which I highlighted. It says, "But it's worth remembering that they, I mean novels, are also the best technology we have for transmitting one person's consciousness directly into another's."
Yes.
Like, whoa.
Yes.
Whoa. So that is, that's powerful. Like, oh, this is what's special about our art form. And it is. You get inside the brain. And so what do you want to put in people's brains? And even if it is a memory of a place that's gone, that's a very good thing to preserve. Or if it's just a fun puzzle or an entertainment or just, whatever, that's what you're doing. You have to put that in this point of view into their mind. And that's what you're doing for. And it will never happen unless you sit down and write.
Yeah. It's so powerful. And I think it's interesting because if you step back and you look at people's self-quarantining, like, what are they doing? They're consuming art. Like,
yeah,
everybody's consuming so much art right now. And it is a testament to, like, it's because it allows you to escape, right? It's because it allows you to connect. It allows you to process some of these emotions. And people have different types of art. Some people are going straight into the, like, pandemic movies, and other people are looking for happy stories and romance and love and all of those things. But it's really powerful to see how music and games and books and film are really like what people are just craving right now, and consuming at massive quantities.
Entertainment is a basic human need. It really is.
Yeah.
We've sought it out ever since we became human. I mean, we've always had it. It's not even a luxury. It's not a frippery. It's critical. We can. I mean, and this time right now is proof of that. So don't ever feel like what you're doing isn't important. It is. And even if it seems, light, that doesn't make it not important. It's important work that we're doing, and we need to keep doing it. We need not be afraid.
Yeah.
All right. I think hopefully this is encouraging people. Hopefully everyone feels a little bit better about getting down and doing some writing after this. I know I do. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah, thanks for sharing this. This is great.
Yeah, it was just, I was so happy to get this little gift. And it's LiteraryHub is the site that I got this from. Like I said, you won't find it on the site, or if you do, let me know, because I can't find it anywhere. But they've got just great stuff every week of just for people who like books and words and things. So I think you'll enjoy it if you like this podcast, which I hopefully you do. And if you do like this podcast, by the way, how's that for a segue? Good? Yeah?
Yeah.
Subtle. If you don't mind going to the Apple Podcasts app and leave us a quick review and a rating. It really helps other people find the podcast. It helps us feel good. And, what else are you going to do?
This is what you should be doing. Just
this
writing
is what you
reviews.
should be doing. Right.
Okay.
In fact, that's the most important thing to do. Because, that's the transmit your consciousness in. No, I can't even pretend. But yeah, it would really be great if you can. But if you can't, yeah, I understand. We're still friends. It's okay.
But
so
if you can.
Remember, everyone. Oh, but if you can.
But
yes.
if you can.
But if you can. All right. So remember, everyone, writing is hard.
So take it easy.
I'm Mary.
And I'm Melissa.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.